How's everybody doing? Welcome to Wexford on the southeast coast of Ireland. Good to see you all, folks. Hope you're all doing well. Let's see who's on here. We have lots of people on. We got Deborah from Canada. It's Clint, Cynthia, Casey, Anne. How you doing, Anne? How are you? Cheryl, Hillary. Good to see Hillary again from Southampton. Maureen, Marianne, Stephen, Heidi, Paul G, Ellen from Stratford in Ontario. Andrea, Adrian, Gail from Newmarket. Ching, how you doing, Ching? And Trish, great to see you, Trish and Ching. How are you? It's Kathy, Sarah, Sue, Kathy, Gail, Maeve, Olga, Linda, Shelley, Colleen, Jackie, Alan, Dean, Sharon, Paul, Macrina, hope I'm saying that correctly, Jennifer, and Noreen. Welcome, everybody. Christina from Michigan, Fran, Liz. Welcome, everybody, folks. Good to see you. If I missed your name, sorry, I apologize. There's a lot of names on there already, and we still got about a little over a minute and a half before we start our tour. So welcome to Wexford, folks. Wexford is a town, as I say, on the southeast coast of Ireland. Nice little town. And there's a lot of famous spots here, so we're going to show you around. We're going to show you a little bit of the coast, the harbour and marina and so forth, and we'll take you to some really nice spots up in the town, some famous churches and what have you as well. And we'll have some fun, folks. That's the name of the game, isn't it? My grandmother came from here. It's great to finally see it. Okay, Lynn. Lynn's grandmother came from Anthony. How are you? Good to see you. Hi, Colleen. Good to see you. Catherine, how are you? Catherine just joined. Helene, how are you? Patrice. Anybody else got roots here in Wexford, folks? Hi, Sarah. Karen A. Good to see you. Kinga. I hope I said that. Julie, how are you, Julie? Lynn. Mary from Boston. Great stuff. I used to live in Boston. And Donna from Philly. Welcome, everybody, folks. Kamisha, how are you? Kenyatta. Great to see you. Rebecca, North Carolina. Folks, I hope I didn't miss anybody, but welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. Thanks for all the great tours. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. You're very kind. Patrice, how are you? Welcome, everybody, folks. So we're just about to start our tour here in Wexford, and it was actually cold. I'm wearing a hat, like my woolen hat, because up to about 10 minutes ago it was cold, because I'm out on the coast here, like out by the harbour and so forth. And the sun has just come out, and as I'm walking, it's lovely and warm. So now I got too many layers on, and 10 minutes ago I didn't have enough on. Now I got too much. It's always the way, folks. Blink, and the weather will change in this country. And as I say, everywhere, all across the country, it's unpredictable weather-wise. And I may have spoken too soon. As I say, the sun's after coming out. It's nice and warm now, because 5 minutes later, it could start raining. Who knows? Welcome, everybody. Poppy, how are you doing? Marianne, good to see you. Noreen, Shelley, Helene, Vicky. Welcome, everybody, folks. Good to see you all. So welcome to Wexford town, known as Loch Garman in the Irish language. And Wexford is the county town of County Wexford, Ireland. And Wexford lies on the south side of Wexford Harbour and the estuary of the River Slaney, near the southeastern corner of the island of Ireland. Known as the sunny southeast, and the population here in Wexford town is 20,188, according to the 2016 census. Now, you'll have heard me say this many times before. I never believe in these censuses. They're always wrong. Because lots of people, they just come knocking on your door. Maybe they do this all across the world, I'm not sure. But they come knocking on your door, and most of the time, people aren't at home. So they'll count that as a one household or whatever for that census. It could be 6 people living there. So there's way more than they think there is as regards populations throughout the towns, villages, and cities throughout Ireland. The town was founded by the Vikings in around 800 AD, and they named it Visafjord, meaning inlet of the mudflats. And the Irish name for Wexford, Loch Garman, comes from a man named Garman MacBoma. and who was chased to the river mouth and drowned as a consequence of stealing the Queen's crown from Tamar during the Feast of Samhain. Samhain is the Halloween feast, but actually before there was ever Halloween, it was the Feast of Samhain. I've explained that before, obviously, during my... how far is Wexford from Cork? Wexford from Cork? Well, we're in the southeast. Cork is on the south. West Cork will be the southwest. You're talking about 2.5 hour drive, no more. 2.5 hour drive to Cork. Like Waterford is next to Wexford, and Waterford borders Cork. So 2 hours. Cork City, not even 2 hours. So there you go. How far from Dublin? It's 2 hours and 5 minutes, Cheng. About 2 hours and 5 minutes from Dublin, driving. So it's not too far. Look, nothing in this country is that far away because it's just a small island. We're an island nation and nothing's that far. From top to bottom is about 7 hours. For all the way the top of Mallinhead in County Donegal, all the way down to Mizenhead in County Cork. Top to bottom, north, as far north as you go and as far south as you go, it's about 7 hours, 8 hours tops. How about that? One country, top to bottom. Cynthia, thank you so much for the tip. I really appreciate that. You're very, very kind. Have a look at this beautiful hotel that you see right here, folks. This is the oldest and the most famous hotel here in Cork City, or sorry, in Wexford town. Someone mentioned Cork, and now I'm saying Cork City. You don't have to be smart to be a tour guide, folks, let me tell you. About the size of Michigan, yeah. That's right, Krista. Christina. About the size of Michigan. I think Maine is about 2 times the size of Ireland. And Texas will be about 5 times the size of Ireland, probably. So this is the Talbot Hotel. It opened its doors in 1905. The oldest hotel here in Wexford town. And it's a luxurious hotel. It's been very much renovated. I remember this years ago, back in the 70s, and it definitely needed a paint job, and it looked a lot different than this, but they modernized it a little bit. So you've lost the whole old feel of this hotel, which I hate. I hate when they remodel or refurbish or remodel a hotel or a building to look like a modern day building instead of keeping the old architecture and maybe improve on that and work on building the interior. But anyway, that's just me. I agree with you, says Sharon. Thank you. They took all the character out. That's it, Helen. Such a shame, yeah. I remember it was a great looking hotel before. And it was brick hotel as well. It was like, I don't know, colour brick. It wasn't red brick, but it was, I think it was whitewash or whatever back in the day. It looks like a store now. It does look like a store. Yeah. Sorry, Derek. Excuse me. How are you? So anyway, the town was founded, as I said before, by the Vikings in about 800 AD. And anyway, for about 300 years, it was a Viking town from 800 AD. However, in 1169, Dermot MacMurrough, the King of Leinster, and his Norman allies, Robert Fitzstephen, besieged Wexford. The Vikings strongly resisted until the Bishop of Ferns persuaded them to accept a settlement with Dermot MacMurrough. And Wexford was the centre of the 1798 rebellion against British rule and was the scene of a notorious massacre of local loyalists by the United Irishmen, who executed them with pikes on Wexford Bridge. And we're going to show you Wexford Bridge just in a little bit. Actually, there it is in the distance, but we'll get much closer to it later. You'll see it over there. Now, probably the most famous person, and I'm going to talk about him just in a couple of minutes, from Wexford, is this man right here, John Barry. Anybody ever hear of him, folks? This pub is named after him, the John Barry, here on Paul Quay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this man. And he is definitely the most famous person to ever come out of this town. And there's a statue of him just down the street here. And we're going to visit that statue in just a couple of minutes, folks. Hi, Tish. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome. I got a bit of a cold. If I'm sniffling, I have to apologise again. I had a real bad cold a fever and a chest infection and a head cold and everything else last week. I thought I was over it because it was Friday. Wasn't too bad, and then Saturday I felt okay, but I woke up this morning with the sniffles, and I haven't stopped since. So I might have relapsed or something. I hope not. But anyway, so yeah, this guy John Barry, the most famous son of Wexford town. Now, he was the founder, folks, of the American Navy. So John Barry was a Wexford man born in 1745. He was an officer in the Continental Navy during the American Revolutionary War. So he was born in this town. He lived here until his late teens, and then he moved to the United States, as I say, and fought in lots of different battles throughout the US during basically the creation of the United States of America. So he was an officer in the Continental Navy during the American Revolutionary War and later in the United States Navy. And he has been credited as the father of the American Navy, sharing it with John Paul Jones and John Adams. He was appointed captain of the Continental Navy on December 7th, 1775. And there's a little harbour right there, folks. That's because you were out on Grattan Street. That is probably the reason, Jackie, all right? Anyway, you got to do what you got to do. I just want to sniffle all the time, but I'm going to try and control myself. Now, I probably will do it involuntarily, but I'm going to try as much as I can not to. So he was made captain and placed in command of the U.S. warship, and commissioned for service under the Continental. So let's go down here. I'm going to see it. So this is the statue of the famous John Barry right here in Wexford town. Thank you, Helen. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, after the war, he became the first commissioned U.S. naval officer at the rank of Commodore, receiving his commission from President George Washington in 1797. And during his career, Barry commanded the U.S. warships Delaware, Lexington, Raleigh, Alliance, and United States. He was Catholic and very religious, and began each day with a reading from the Bible. Sorry, folks. Let me zoom back out here for a minute because we're going up here. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate it. He had a great regard for his crew and their well-being, and always made sure that they were properly provisioned while at sea. He died in Philadelphia in 1803 and is buried in the graveyard of St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church. Is there anybody from Philly on here today, folks? Do we have anybody from Philly? We got Phil, I know is on, but is Phil from Philly? John Barry, Maureen. John Barry. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go up here. Near Philly, says Shelley. John Barry was his name. That's right, Krista. I have family in Philly, says Jennifer. Great stuff. So I said he died in Philadelphia in 1803 and is buried in the graveyard of St. Mary's Roman Catholic Church. And there is a park in Brooklyn, New York, named after him, Commodore Barry Park, which is the oldest park in the borough. He founded the Brooklyn Navy Yard next to the park. And in World War II, the U.S. ship John Barry was named in his honor. And Commander Barry Bridge crosses the Delaware River from Philadelphia to New Jersey. There's a John Barry Hall at Villanova University in Philadelphia. And there's Barry Township in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. There's the John Barry Elementary School in Philadelphia. And there's also the John Barry Elementary School in Chicago, Illinois. There is a division of the Ancient Order of Hibernians in Annapolis, in Maryland, and in New Jersey. There's a plaque in the Boston Common of John Barry, a 6-foot bronze statue of him in Washington, D.C., between I and K Streets on 14th Street Northwest. Barry Hall at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, a monument of him at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, and this statue here was a gift to the town from the United States and was unveiled in 1956. Let's go over and take a look at it, folks. So John Barry, considered to be the founding father of the US Navy, along with John Paul Jones. Have to give him a mention, and as I say, John Adams. Ching says she's in New Jersey. She'll check him out. Yeah. He's quite honoured in the USA. Yes, Joan. Hi, Joan. Good to see you again, Joan. I went to Villanova, says Sheila. Villanova, a great university, and it's also very much, Villanova University in Philadelphia is very much a lot of the alumni, and also even maybe today's students, but I know students of the past, a lot of them were from Ireland. They were there on scholarships, athletic scholarships. Sonia Sullivan went to Villanova. Eamon Coughlin went to Villanova. Some of the great, Marcus O'Sullivan went there. Some of the great Irish athletes. Ronnie Delaney went to Villanova University. He won the 1956 1500 metres in Melbourne, Australia, representing Ireland. So lots of these great Irish runners all went to Villanova University, a great athletics program. And there you go. Katie's after putting in the Wikipedia there of John Barry, naval officer. Amazing stats. Amazing. This guy did so much. It's unbelievable. And here is the wonderful statue, as I say, of John Barry. I used to live in Annapolis myself, so I'm familiar with the statue of him there at the Naval Academy. And there was also an Irish hotel at one time in Annapolis, owned by the O'Callaghan Group, who have 4 hotels in Dublin City. And they had a hotel in Annapolis. And the bar in there was known as the John Barry Bar, named after this fella. Commodore John Barry, United States Navy. We'll do a vertical here of this chap, the great John Barry. Wexford's favourite son, most famous son. Died in Philadelphia in 1803, born in 1745. Let's get a few more stats on this fella. Can you read all this, folks? We're going to step back so you can read it all. Presented to the people of Ireland by the United States of America in 1956 in recognition of Commodore Barry's outstanding contribution to the naval annals of his adopted country. He was born County Wexford and is buried St. Mary's Churchyard, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There you go, the great John Barry. It's a nice side angle of him there as well. Pretty nice. Thank you, Patrice. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody's just joined us. Good to see you all. We're here in Wexford Town, folks. We're taking a look at the memorial statue of John Barry, the founding father of the US Navy. And thank you, Catherine. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And he was born right here in Wexford. The National Society Sons of the American Revolutionary laid the wreath here on 6th of May 2014. American Revolution. In great remembrance of all Irish Marines lost at sea, especially those seamen of the SS Kyle Clare, SS Kerryhead, SS Ardmore, and SS St. Fintan, and those seamen of Wexford who were lost in the SS Irish Pine and the MV Cymric, 1939 to 1945. There you go. Hilary, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the tips, folks. Catherine, Patrice, all great. Thank you. Appreciate that, folks. The sun is out, folks. It's absolutely scorching. It's beautiful out now. As I say, I'm telling you, 10 minutes before I started this tour, I was getting worried that I hadn't had enough clothes on me because it was cold. It was breezy. Look around by the harbour here and so forth. But now it's just exquisite. It's wonderful. There's a lovely little flower display right there at the John Barry Memorial. Once again, you'll see throughout Ireland, you'll see the contrast in all the towns and villages of the different coloured buildings, whether they be homes or businesses. They have a contrast. Who wants to see the same coloured buildings all over the place? Not me. Another look at the John Barry from a different angle again there, folks. Cool. Okay. The sun is coming out here in the northern Mass. There you go, Marianne. Northern Mass. I used to live in Northern Mass. well, north of Boston, a place called Malden, north of Boston, beside Medford. Medford was a dry town. Malden, lots of places to drink in Malden. Here too in Connecticut, says Sharon. Are you near a river or lake as I see water? Yes, I am, Anthony. We're coming up to the river Slaney right here. The river that runs through Wexford town. So Wexford, coastline and beaches. There's lots of them say this is the harbour right here. What did you do for a living in the US? When I first went over, I worked in bars in Boston for about 4 years. And, you can make your money on tips. Obviously, you make all your money on tips in the bar game. And I did seriously well on tips. I made enough money where I didn't have time to spend all my money, so I had a chance to save a lot. And with that money, I started a wholesale company. So I had my own wholesale company for about 20 years in the States. And it was really successful until the Lehman Brothers went belly up. And lots of other after effects of that crisis happening. People zipped up their pockets and stopped buying my products. And that was the end of my business. I stuck with it for 3 more years. I shouldn't have done that. I should have cashed in my chips and gave it up because it's a wholesale business. I was only selling luxury items. I was not selling necessity items, and that's what people needed at that time. But anyway, that's why. Oh, yes, I had relatives in Medford, says Marianne. There you go. Diane, thank you so much for the tip. Appreciate it. Thank you. So we got some lovely little boats here in the harbour here. This is very much a fishing town. As I say, Wexford coastline and beaches known as the sunny southeast. Wexford has some of Ireland's most fantastic beaches, including Curracloe Beach, which is approximately about 10 kilometres north of Wexford town, and was a location of the 1997 of the opening scenes of Saving Private Ryan, starring Tom Hanks and Matt Damon as Private Ryan, and directed by Steven Spielberg. So that was just literally a few doors, or a few, maybe 10, 15 kilometres from here, Curracloe. But there's some absolutely amazing beaches right here in Wexford. As I say, we're in the town, but once you get further down by the coast, there's just a series of tons and tons of there's these young lads are following me and they're behind me and they're getting loud and they're going to annoy me. I can tell it. I can feel it. They've already come up to me, asking me, can they talk on camera? Just hoping that they don't get too close to me. My answer is Philip Byrne came from County Wexford. Very good, Lorraine. Audrey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me read the blue ones. Right, I've seen Private Ryan, but now I will look closer. There you go. What did you do for a living? Okay, I already told you that. There's John and Liam. I missed that one. What's the name? Catch of those boats. Well, I'll go into that in a minute. Let me just tell you. Anyway, that movie to make, Saving Private Ryan, cost 70 million, and it took in 485 million at the box office, the highest grossing film of 1998. It won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Director for Spielberg, and it's considered to be one of the greatest films ever made. Now, there's lots of scenes for other movies that have been made on the Wexford coast, but that would be one of the most prominent ones of all. Gail, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's a hard-to-watch movie, it was. Saving Private Ryan, yeah. So Wexford, as I said before, is famous for its golden beaches that stretches for 250 kilometres along a coast that few counties in Ireland can compare to. Almost the entire shoreline of Wexford is a series of long sandy strands, and the water is calm and safe for swimmers compared to the Irish West Coast, which is much more rugged. And that's the Atlantic Ocean. It's much rougher. The Irish Sea here on this side, on the east coast of Ireland, is much more favourable conditions. They call this area Wexford and the surrounding counties of this area. Thank you, Maeve. Appreciate it. They call this the sunny southeast because, for the most part, it always seems to be sunny here. They get less rain than they do in other parts of the country. In Places like North Wicklow, or sorry, South Wicklow, Wexford, Waterford, and maybe the northern part of Cork, North Cork. So the sunny southeast gets fantastic weather. Really, really brilliant. Madison, thank you so much. Karen, thank you so much. Where is Hope Street filmed? I'm not familiar with that, Candace. Sorry, I'm not familiar with that show. Sorry about that there. So I want to show you this bridge over here, folks. This is Wexford. Sorry, this is Wexford Bridge right here. And the very first bridge here was completed in 1795. I'm guessing Waterford Crystal is the crystal, yeah. Yeah, well now Waterford literally is only an hour, not even 40. It depends what part of Waterford you're going to. Waterford town is probably about 45-minute drive from here, not far at all. And as I say, of course, Waterford is famous for the Waterford Crystal. So here's Wexford Bridge. And the very first bridge here was completed in 1795. It was a road bridge and it crosses the mouth of the River Slaney from Wexford town to the west bank to Ferry Bank on the east bank. And this bridge opened, actually they modernised this bridge. As I say, there was a bridge here before. Julie, thank you so much. And this bridge here opened in 1959 after suffering, the old bridge suffered from erosion. And they also did more repairs on it in 1997. So there you go. We're going to take a walk a little bit up to the town here, Wexford town. Ching. Not sure if you plan a tour in Waterford in the next 10 days. No, Ching. Ching, I have so many places. I had written up loads of tours, so many places that I wanted to go. And I was then in the process of attempting to research other places. And a lot of the tours that I do, if I'm going to go down the country or 2 or 3 hours away, I like to go down first, for a day and, map out the areas. Maybe I do a few towns and then I go back maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, and actually do the tour. I had loads of places all mapped out. We have to now readjust that and see, because we might go the way of YouTube Live, Facebook Live, or even Zoom. But we have to see what's going on. John Wright is putting something together with a bunch of the other guides. I don't know if I'm going to be involved in it. We'll see what happens. Myself and Hazel and Jana here in Ireland, we got something in mind ourselves. So we'll see, folks. But one thing's for sure, I'm going to continue to work, continue to do live stream tours, because it's so much fun. I really love it. But the one thing that will never happen again, folks, it could, but I don't see it happening again, is free tours. It's just not... it's not sustainable, which is unfortunate for those who can't afford to do tours, can't afford any money. But it's to put these things together, everything costs money, travel, all that kind of stuff, and it's just impossible to do it for free. I do love Hago tours, and I'm so sad they're finishing, says Jill. Jill, don't fret, there's something else going to come. And out of a crisis or out of a negative always comes something positive. And in most cases, or a lot of cases, it ends up being a hell of a lot more positive. Much, much better than what was there before. Think about all the brains together in this Hago platform. Think of all the geniuses and creative geniuses there is of some of these great tour guides. I mean, look at the likes of Patrick Toomey. 918, was it? Or 970 tours he did on Hago. It's quite incredible in less than 2 years. And he travelled the world doing it. He went everywhere, all over the place. Stefan in Amsterdam. These people are creative geniuses. And just mention two of them. There's so many more. They're unbelievably smart people. And they're unbelievably creative. And they're going to make things happen. It's just the way it is. They will make it happen. Thank you, Poppy, for putting that in. Thank you so much. Love your optimism, Dave, says Tish. Thank you. Are you near Rosslare? Yes, Joan. Rosslare is really up the street. And believe it or not, I was supposed to meet a buddy of mine. He lives in Rosslare. He couldn't make it down today here to Wexford, but I might go up to him after this tour because it's literally 15 minutes away. Rosslare, just down the street. Rosslare is beautiful, a lovely strand there and a beautiful harbour. It's also a ferry port as well as Rosslare. Will take you to Fishguard in Wales, and then also it will take you to Cherbourg. Is that how you say Cherbourg in France as well? That's where my cousin is, says Joan. Very good, Joan. Joan has cousins all over the place in Kerry, Cork, and also in Wexford as well. There you go. Cynthia, thank you. Wendy, how are you, Wendy? Good stuff. Wendy's coming again this summer as well. Mary from Boston, thank you so much for the tip. There's so many people coming, folks, this summer. I'm really excited. Paddy's coming. Trish is coming. Wendy's coming. Lots and lots of other people are coming. There's some people are coming that I don't even know, but they were put in touch. They were put in touch by Haygoers, viewers that are on this show. So there's a bunch of them coming as well. There, Trish is coming. Get excited, Trish. Trish and her sister's coming. Paddy and her sister are coming. Hoping to go to Pembroke Docks in August, says Anthony. I will never get to your beautiful country, so I thank you. Cynthia, never say never. You never know. Coming end of September. Ellen, great stuff, Ellen. Give me a shout. Look me up. Lynn, left a tip. Thank you so much. Liz, thank you so much. You're so kind and generous, folks. I really, really appreciate this. Here's my card if you are coming here to Dublin or to anywhere in Ireland. Give me a shout. Dublin Rogues Tour. This is my main in-person business. info@roguestour.ie. Website dublinroguestour.com. Dave Kavanagh. Joan's coming in July to Kerry. Great stuff, Joan. Fantastic. Joan's been many times in Kerry and Cork. She's been to Cove before. We did that tour at Cove. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you so much, folks. Hey, let's take a walk into the town. We've seen enough to the coast, haven't we, folks? Gail, thank you. And Vicky, thank you so much. Vicky's coming as well. I forgot about Vicky's coming in August, I think. And Vicky was here 2021, I think it was November. We had a great old time. Did a tour around the city. Took in all the great hot spots. It was a lot of fun. Love the graphics on the card. Thanks, Marianne. Do you see the back of it? The back of it is the best. There's a buddy of mine owns a printing company, and he has this girl in the office, and she's a genius. Graphic designer. She's an absolute genius. How about that? Can you see that, folks? That's the back of the card with no information on it, but just the logo, if you like. I actually have a different logo now, but I still use this card. There you go. Everybody loves it. I love it. I like it a lot. So I'm going to take you up here to the town, folks, and show you some ancient churches. Well, they're not really that ancient, but they're old enough. But now, Wexford is known for the 1790. I've mentioned this already, folks, but it's known for the 1798 rebellion. And the 1798 rebellion took place all throughout the east coast of Ireland. Lasted close to a year, 8 months or something. And obviously, like every war, our war was against the occupation of Britain here in Ireland, including the 1798 rebellion. But much of the action took place right here in Wexford town. The Battle of Vinegar Hill in the 1798 rebellion occurred, and the Vinegar Hill is just down the street here in Enniscorthy, literally about 15-20 minute drive from here. And the Battle of Vinegar Hill occurred during the Irish Rebellion, as I say, of 1798 on the 21st of June, 1798. This is in one day, folks, over 15,000 British soldiers launched an attack on Vinegar Hill in Enniscorthy, as I say, not far from here. And it marked a turning point in the rebellion, as it was the last attempt by the rebels to hold and defend ground against the British military. But of course, after that defeat, it was more or less the end of that war. And we lost once again, like we did every war. But as I say, this was a notorious war, the 1798 rebellion. It was led by a man by the name of Wolfe Tone. And he would have been Anglo-Irish, so he would have been of British descent. And he would have been a Protestant, where most Irish people were Catholics. And a lot of the other leaders of the 1798 rebellion were also Protestants as well. You had Lord Edward Fitzgerald. He was another one of the leaders of the 1798 rebellion. There's a man by the name of Michael Dwyer, and he was held out for years and years, and they couldn't find the guy. This is also representing the 1798 rebellion right here. But he held out, and he was very much knew his own terrain, if you like, and he hid out in the Wicklow Mountains, and no one could catch him. There was a huge bounty in his head because he did so much damage to the British authorities. And so the monument behind me, this monument commemorates the gallant men of Wexford who fought of Ireland's freedom in 1798, one of the many uprisings against foreign domination during the centuries and subjection, 1169 to 1921. It is the work of Oliver Shepherd and was erected in 1904. So I'll just show it to you from a front angle right here. It's called the Bull Ring. It's called the Bull Ring. So let me just show it to you here from a different angle. Sorry for all these poles in the way, folks. They're spoiling the view, I guess, huh? Look at this name of this bar, folks. It's called The Undertaker. How about that? The Undertaker. That's because then, if you have a serious amount of drinks and you're there all day and all night, they give a call to the Undertaker just in case. So I said the Bull Ring, this is known as. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to give you a husband daycare center. There you go. It's known as the curer. They go in for a curer after drinking all night the night before. They go in the next morning for a curer. So the Bull Ring, you can just maybe take a postcard photograph and read that yourself. I'm not going to go over all of that. A few more places I want to show you up the town. So let's make our way up. I might have to go into the Undertaker after this, folks. See will they look after me. I hope I don't trip over any coffins or anything. Yes. So this is South Main Street. North Main Street is where that Bull Ring was. This is South Main Street right here. And we're coming up to this lovely chapel right here. But before we do this, show you this chapel, I want to tell you about the story of the Kennedys. John F. Kennedy and the Kennedy family. The family of John F. Kennedy were a Wexford family from New Ross. New Ross is probably about 25-minute drive from here. And there in New Ross, you can visit the John F. Kennedy Arboretum on the Hook Head Peninsula. The Hook Head Lighthouse on the Hook Head Peninsula is the oldest working lighthouse in the world, dating back to 1172. Now, the Arboretum is now under the management of the National Botanic Gardens of Ireland and dedicated to the memory of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. And John F. Kennedy visited the family homestead in June 1963 to have tea with his cousins. How about that? Thank you, Elizabeth. The tea with his cousins in New Ross. And it's now no longer called just the homestead. It's now called the JFK homestead. And this was, when he was last here, when he was here, it was June 1963, just 5 months before his assassination. So the family of the Kennedys are originally from Wexford. And many of the Kennedy family members throughout the generations have visited New Ross over the years and so forth. As I say, they have a number of statues dedicated to John F. Kennedy there as well. I'm going to just zoom back out. I want to show you this beautiful... did I go the wrong way? Yes, I did. This lovely, lovely church. And it's called St. Ibra's Church. And let me just explain a little bit about this church to you. Can everybody get a good view of it there? Let me zoom back out. Thank you, Ching. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Love the Kennedys, Ronnie Lynn. Went to JFK Junior High. Honoured here too. Heidi, where is that? Of course, they were from Boston. Brookline, Massachusetts. And of course, they also had their compound on Hyannisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Utah. There you go. They have them everywhere, obviously, throughout the United States. So this is St. Ibra's Church located here on North Main Street. It was designed by Waterford's renowned architect John Roberts and features a late Georgian-style interior, while the exterior is of the Venetian Renaissance aesthetic. It is an Anglican house of worship. It was built in 1760. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So there's a poster right here, so that you can see a little more of it here. St. Ibra's Church. Now I'm going to tell you a story about this guy, St. Ibras. And here's the story right here at this plaque. I'll try and show you this from a different angle. So the story here, folks, on March 17th, St. Patrick is celebrated worldwide. But it's St. Ibras, or Ibar, as he's also well known, that had more influence. But if St. Ibras, or Ibar as he's also known, had more influence in Rome, he may have become Ireland's national saint instead. Because legend says that St. Ibar landed on an island near here in the 5th century. He was also on a Christianing mission. However, unlike Patrick, Ibar had few connections in Rome. So instead of being given jurisdiction over Ireland by the Pope, Ibar only ruled his tiny island. But he defiantly claimed, wherever I am will be Ireland. Hence, Ibar's Ireland became known as Bergerin, a corruption of Beg Erin, or Little Ireland. That's a good story. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Suzanne just joined us. Hi, Suzanne. Good to see you. We're here in Wexford town. We probably only have about 10 more minutes left to the tour. But hope you've enjoyed it so far, folks. I'm going to give you a look at this from a different angle. I was in here for lunch just probably an hour ago. It's a great little place, right? Great little coffee shop right here on North Main Street. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much. But I want to show you a few more places. This is a better angle at this church right here, St. Ibras. Give you a look at that. Okay, we're going to move on, and I'm going to show you a couple more other places of interest before we finish up the tour. We'll miss these tours for now. Thank you very much, Dee. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your kind words. Was there about 20 years ago, Eva. Nice to be here again. Great stuff. Come back again. Sue, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Have a look at this little old church right here. Not to be confused with that one up the hill, the top of the hill, but this one right here. This is an old Methodist church. I'll just show it you from a different angle, but there's a good story behind this church, which I'll tell you in a minute if you want to take a postcard right there. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you so much, folks, for the kind words. So have a look at this. This is, as I say, an old Methodist church. So read this here. Wexford's Methodist community hosted many renowned preachers, most notably the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. But none made quite the same impact as crazy Lorenzo Dow. Dow arrived from America in 1799, convinced that he was being called to Ireland to join the Methodist effort to convert the deluded Irish peasantry with his screaming and begging, flattering and insulting, single-ragged suit, unkempt hair and lack of personal hygiene. Dow didn't endear himself to the Irish Methodists. The Methodist Conference put him on trial in 1800, but he ignored them and carried on preaching in Wexford. Dow died in Washington, D.C. in 1834 after his autobiography became the second best-selling book in the US behind the Bible. How about that? I don't even know what the name of that book was. The Methodist Conference put out. He died in Washington in 1834 after his autobiography. What? Do you hear me? I don't even know the name of that book. His autobiography became his second best-selling book in the US behind it. So I guess Lorenzo Dow. Never even heard of the book. Anybody heard of it? Trying to Google this Dow fool. Yes, indeed, I never even heard of the guy. The second, next to the Bible, most biggest selling book next to the Bible. Can you believe it? Oh yeah, there's a great, this is Wexford Festival Opera down the street, down that laneway, a little further down, but it's a world-class opera house is the opera here. Now the marina, I forgot to mention when I was at the marina a little earlier, that's and the harbour and so forth, that the harbour there is a natural harbour at the mouth of the River Slaney, and Vikings, it said, arrived from Norway here in the year 819 and founded the city of Wexford, calling it Wasfjord, which means inlet of the mudflats. And in the 17th century, Wexford became a major port exporting. This is also something that I forgot to say while I was down by the port there. In the 17th century, Wexford became a major port exporting fish, cloth, wool and hides. And it was Ireland's leading fishing port in the 15th and 16th centuries. And in the 1760s, Wexford's chief export was corn, 2 million barrels per year. And also herrings, beer, beef, hides, tallow, butter, etc. And they traded to all ports of the globe, but in particular in Liverpool, Barbados, Norway, and Bordeaux. So how about that, folks? Should I follow his example in order to become a best-selling author? There you go, Memphis Stefan. Yes, indeed, you should. Give it a go. Okay, I'm going to show you this right now. Someone's asking what's the building. Thank you, Mary from Boston. Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, this building is the Church of the Immaculate Conception on Rose Street. It opened in 1858. I'm going to show you this from a different angle. I'm too close to it to show it to you properly. But there's lots of churches around this area of Wexford. Let me go across the road. Hold on a second. Let me go across the road here so I can show it you. And this has got a very, very high steeple, as you can see. I'm going to have to do a vertical shot here. I'm the world's worst vertical photographer. So the Church of the Immaculate Conception, it was built in 1858. And what's really, really ironic, I'm going to tell you a story right here, folks, about this church, which is quite incredible because this is a twin church. Twins with another church called the Assumption, which is probably about a 5-minute walk down the road, maybe a little more. So it tells you the story right here of this church. Thank you, Donna. So finding money to build not one, but two breathtaking churches in Wexford just 10 years after the famine devastated Ireland was a remarkable achievement. But Father James Roach was a fundraising dynamo who didn't restrict himself to the collection plate. Instead, everyone became a target. Locals of all classes, visiting sailors, Wexford immigrants, and even pub goers. According to local legend, he even busked in local pubs. So he sang and probably played a guitar or whatever, singing the Green Gown Lass before passing his hat around until it overflowed with money. His audacity worked. The Church of the Immaculate Conception opened in July 1858, a week after its Bride Street twin, which is the Assumption, the Church of the Assumption, which I think you can see from here, but it's just too far to walk. But how about that? Imagine a week after one another, two of these big Catholic churches were built. It's quite amazing. The Church of the Immaculate Conception and the Church of the Assumption. There's also another lovely church right here. It's a Franciscan church, a Franciscan friary. There is a plaque on the wall here, so I'll bring it down so we can read it. But supposedly, I think it was the 14th century. It's been on this site since the 14th century, this friary. I think it's a Franciscan friary. So let me bring you down and show you. Appreciate it, Elizabeth. You're welcome. Thank you, Ronnie Lynn. Thank you so much. Folks, I really appreciate all the wonderful tips. You're all very, very kind. It really does make a huge difference in the life of a tour guide. And it really shows your appreciation. And it's very much, as I said before, appreciated by us. There's that other church. You see the steeple there of the Church of the Assumption. And it's a twin church, so it looks the exact same as that other church. And that was completed a week before the other. You can just see the steeple. Now, that looks really close by, but it's not. It's probably about a 10-minute walk from here, so it's a little bit too far. I don't have that much time left. Dee, thank you so much. So let's go over and read about this Franciscan friar. This is a busy little road, this one right here. And there's a bend in the road. Cars wouldn't even see you. So, thank you, Wendy. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dee. So, the Franciscan friary right here. Since their arrival in the mid-13th century, Franciscan monks were a familiar sight in and around Wexford. In their 8 centuries here, they frequently became the target of persecution. One of the most famous incidents occurred in 1649 when Oliver Cromwell's troops killed six Franciscans. Among them was Father Raymond Stafford, OFM, who stood in the town's bull ring, pleading to prevent a massacre of townspeople. But perhaps the conflict wasn't entirely one-sided. Legend has it that as Father Stafford held up his crucifix, it deflected a bullet, which then killed a Cromwellian officer. How about that? Karma, for sure. Yes, indeed. On Reva Fierce Agut. And another thing. There you go. Here's another look at this church from a different angle. Thank you, Jackie. Folks, that's about all I got for you in this tour today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a 40-minute tour. I'm going to 50 minutes. Once again, I forgot to look at what tours are coming on after mine. I always forget. I always tell myself, don't forget to look and see what other tours are so I can promote that other tours coming up after mine. And again, I forgot to do it. This is what happens when you're getting old, folks. You forget the little things. So, I don't know who's up on after me, but you can be sure it's one of the greats, as lots of all the top guides are doing tours over this last week. There should be absolutely some phenomenal tours coming up, as I say, between now and the 11th of April. Not to be missed tours. Thank you, Christy. Thanks, Ronnie Lynn. Thanks, Lynn. Thanks very much, folks, for all the kind words. You're really very, very kind. Just scheduled on your YouTube channel. Thank you. Yeah, folks, if you'd like to follow my YouTube channel, I think I'm at nearly 500 subscribers, but I need about 1,000 to start live streaming. Supposedly, that's the criteria. You have to have 1,000 subscribers to go live. So I need 500 more. If anybody is able to put in my channel there. Okay, thanks very much, Poppy. Poppy just put it in there. Thank you so much. And Tish is after putting in the tour for tomorrow, which is the Dublin Docklands, folks. It's a lovely, lovely tour along by the River Liffey. The Dublin Docklands, we take in big tech and also the banking institutions here in Dublin. Dublin's economy, or Ireland's economy, is booming. It's one of the few economies of the world that really does very well. It's because of three industries: big tech, pharmaceuticals, and banking, financial institutions. And all of their head offices of all the big players from all over the world, especially the big American big tech companies and pharmaceuticals and banking institutions, they're all housed in Ireland. Most of them are in Dublin and the Dublin Docklands, and we're going to show you all that as we walk along by the River Liffey, and we show you some iconic buildings down the River Liffey. We'll show you a very famous boat that is moored in there. Actually, two boats that I want to talk about that's moored in the Liffey. We'll show you the very famous convention centre, the Samuel Beckett Bridge, and then we'll go into Grand Canal Dock, and we'll show you and explain to you about some of the great water sports that takes place there at Grand Canal Dock. We'll visit Facebook and Google while in Grand Canal Dock as well, known as Silicon Dock. It's Ireland's equivalent to Palo Alto, Silicon Dock, if you like, and lots of other stuff. So I hope you can join me for that, folks, tomorrow at Dublin Docklands. Now, Tuesday, the very first tour I ever did on this platform is the Ancient Dublin Tour. I'm going to be doing it again Tuesday for the very last time on Hago. I know there's lots of people booked in for it. Still to this day, amazingly, it was the very first tour. I got, I think, 85 or 90 tours on this platform, Hago. And the very first tour I did was Ancient Dublin. Still to this day, my most successful tour is probably my Ancient Dublin tour. Still, the very first one I ever did, and it's still my most. And I used to do it, or I still do it, about once a month or once every 6 weeks. And it always attracts a huge crowd, a huge amount of viewers. Still to this day. And the reason for it is because we take in Ancient Dublin. We take in all the oldest parts of the city, the cobblestone streets. We talk about the Vikings. We show you St. Patrick's Cathedral dating back to 1191. We show you Christchurch Cathedral, the oldest working building in Dublin, Dublin's oldest building, dating back to 1169. There was a previous building at that very site before that dates back to 1028. We show you Fishamble Street, Dublin's oldest street. We'll show you the River Liffey and Wood Quay, which was the first settlement, Viking settlement in Dublin City. So we'll show you that as well. I mean, there's so many places to show you on that tour. I think I have it down for a 45-minute tour, and I think I go over an hour easily. Because we show you everything that's old, the oldest library in Dublin. We'll go inside the St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is beautiful. We'll actually go inside Marsh's Library, the oldest library in Ireland, the oldest public library. We'll also show you the oldest school on that tour, the oldest street, the oldest cathedral, the oldest working building, and even the oldest fish and chip shop. Anybody know what the name of that is? What is the oldest fish and chip shop in Dublin? I will do that, Ching. I'm very slow at downloading. I think out of 308 tours, I think that I've done, 309 tours or something I've done on this platform. I've only downloaded 5 of them so far. I have to get cracking because I've only got a week left to do them all. But I want to try and download the whole lot of them. Corgi, yeah, you like corgis, Tish? A lovely dog. Thank you, Peg. Appreciate it. There you go. Poppy's got a Burdocks. Leo Burdocks, the oldest fish and chip shop in Dublin, the most famous fish and chip shop in Dublin, has its own wall of fame right there because so many Hollywood celebrities have visited. All the great musicians of the world have come to Dublin, have also visited Leo Burdocks fish and chip shop, made with Guinness batter. You can't beat it, folks. The store, St. Tinry store. Love fish and chips, says Joan. A bunch of us just signed up. We want you to do live tours on YouTube. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Thanks a million, Julie. Folks, that's about all I got for you. It's going to be a great last week. Check out some of the great tour guides on the platform over the next week because there's going to be some spectacular tours. I'm going to be watching them myself. I find it very, very hard. Thank you, Poppy. Appreciate it. Poppy has had to put in my link So we'll show you the rest of the tours. I think I'm doing tours every day up until the end. I'm doing I don't think I've anything posted for next Saturday because I have a meeting to go to next Saturday, and I've also got a tour, an in-person tour next Saturday. But I may do something for next Saturday. But every other day I have something posted. Next Monday, which will be the final day, because that's the 10th of April, I'm down at Powerscourt Gardens again. I'm going to do 2 tours in Powerscourt Gardens. One of them is with Rosemary, one of the great gardeners of the world. That's Easter Monday, by the way. And she's going to show us around the herbaceous border. And after that, we'll do the regular tour that I do of Powerscourt House and Gardens, the 3rd most beautiful gardens in the whole entire world, folks. Get excited for those tours. But we'll see you, hopefully, on Monday to see the Dublin Docklands and Grand Canal Dock. Thanks a million for all who came on today. I really appreciate it. Slán litagus Kareva Mila Mahagut. Sláinte. Thank you, folks. Have a great day. We'll see you all again soon as you look at some of the pretty streets of Wexford. Thank you, folks. Thank you all for the tips. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you to all my wonderful sponsors who have been absolutely fabulous to me. I really appreciate it. Young Ireland's first All-Ireland football champions, 1893, who bought Ferrum and their parish and county. That's the whole entire team, Wexford. Wexford are great hurlers. One of the greatest hurling. Now, hurling is one of the Irish national sports, hurling and Gaelic football. There's also a few other Gaelic games as well, like handball is one, camogie that women play. But there's also hurling. And this is one of the great hurlers. And thank you, Poppy, appreciate it, in Irish history playing here for Wexford. The Yellowbacks, Wexford. The Yellow Bellies, Wexford are known as. But this is Nicky Rackard, one of 3 brothers, the Rackard brothers. I think around the 1940s, 1950s. And this guy, they were a farming family, but they were absolutely unbelievable hurling players. And the standout of the 3 brothers was Nicky Rackard, this fellow right here, Rackard. Nicky Rackard. Look him up, I think he was in the 40s and 50s, I think. But one of the great hurlers in Irish history. But probably the greatest hurler was a Cork man called Christy Ring, also around the 50s and 60s, I think. But Rackard was up there as well. Folks, I can't stop talking. Tell me to shut up, will you? And get off the screen. Thanks very much, folks. We'll see you again soon. Slán litagus Greva Mila Mahagat. Thank you. See you, folks.